SMS at any time during the show. Type Spectrum, leave a space, type in your contribution and name, and send it to 7197. Your views, our interviews on Spectrum, Radio 1 FM 90.
Good evening, listeners. Welcome to Spectrum in Radio 1. I'm your host, Edmond Kizito. On Spectrum tonight, what is the role of the Directorate of Public Prosecutions in the delivery of justice and upholding the rule of law in Uganda? In order for a country to register progress, it is critical to have a good system of delivering justice and upholding the rule of law. In order to achieve these two targets, Uganda placed several institutions under the justice, law and order sector, including the Directorate of Public Prosecutions, the lead agency in ensuring that those who break the law face justice. The Directorate has a duty to account to the public on whose behalf prosecutions are actually conducted. This Directorate also has a duty to treat all people equally in accordance with the law and to also protect and promote human rights. There have been a lot of complaints against the judiciary for delaying justice, but observers have noted often that the Directorate of Public Prosecutions and the police force, which are critical in investigating and drawing up charges, should also share the blame. Some people are also not happy that the office of the DPP has been used to come up with trumped-up charges, especially in the past, especially against opposition politicians. Most of these charges have been dismissed by the courts, and the Directorate has been indicted in turn for continuously bringing up the same charges. The Inspectorate has, however, registered success in many aspects, although there are challenges which still hinder the institution from delivering on its mandate fully. So tonight, we look at the role of this Directorate in the ongoing efforts of the justice, law and order sector to educate the public about the responsibility of the different institutions which are critical in the delivery of justice. And upholding the rule of law, guests Ms. Jane Okuo Kajuga, the Public Relations Officer of the Directorate of Public Prosecutions. She's also Senior Principal State Attorney. Most welcome, Madam Jane Kajuga.
Thank you very much, and good evening, listeners.
We also are joined by Ms. Margaret Nachigude, Regional Principal State Attorney based out of Jinja. You're most welcome, Ms. Nachigude.
Thank you, everyone. Listeners.
And viewers, because we're also on the internet, you can get a video of Spectrum off YouTube. Also join us, Madam Maria Teresa Nabulia, Information Officer of the Judicial Service Commission. You're most welcome, Madam Nabulia.
Thank you, everyone, and good evening, listeners.
Jane, what is the central job of the Directorate of Public Prosecutions?
Thank you very much, Edmond. The Directorate of Public Prosecutions is an institution that is created under our Constitution with the mandate of handling criminal cases on behalf of the public and directing the police in as far as the investigation of criminal cases is concerned. The functions of the DPP are carried out by designated officers referred to as state attorneys, of course of different ranks going upwards, and state prosecutors who have the power to prosecute and handle the functions under the Constitution on behalf of the DPP.
So where does their role stop?
Thank you. Now their role starts, first of all, the Constitution says that the Directorate of Public Prosecutions has the power to direct the police to investigate any matter of a criminal nature. The usual standard is that when a person is offended against criminally or a criminal offense has been committed anywhere, the police can decide to conduct the investigation by themselves, either on a tip-off or upon receiving a complaint. Also, we work very closely with the CID of police, that's the Criminal Investigations and Intelligence Directorate of Police. When they conduct the investigations, they then send the file to the office of the DPP. As I was saying, most cases start because somebody has complained to police, but DPP can actually direct the police even where there has been no formal complaint. If, for example, we read the paper and notice that this looks like there was criminal conduct, any office of DPP can direct that an investigation is conducted. When the police investigations are done, the file is then sent to the office of the DPP. We have the office at the headquarters, but we also have field offices. Currently we have 109 stations all over the country, and they are popularly known by the public as the office of the resident state attorney or the office of the resident state prosecutor. So the file goes to that state attorney in the area where the offense has been committed. And that attorney then is expected to peruse that police file. First of all, establish that, depending on what police has gathered, is there a criminal case at all? Some of the cases that are reported are civil in nature. And at that juncture, you'd know, as a state attorney, that this is not a criminal matter. We have no power over it. We advise and we close the file. If there is sufficient evidence to warrant it to go to court, the state attorney or state prosecutor then sanctions it for court. And no cases can go to court unless they have been sanctioned by an officer of the DPP at any station. If the investigations are incomplete, maybe a critical witness hasn't been interviewed, critical exhibits have not been examined, we don't have a report and it's important, or any other area for further investigation is identified, then the state attorney has the mandate to direct the police on specific areas of investigation. That I have read your file, there are loopholes in A, B, C, D, please pursue them. Sometimes the accused person is setting up an alibi, he's saying I wasn't there at the time the offense was committed. So we direct the police, investigate his alibi. He claims he was in the bar, he was not in the place where he was said to be. Investigate that alibi. So all these areas for further investigations we direct. When the decision has been taken to take the case to court, it is again the duty of the public prosecutor to conduct the prosecution on behalf of the public. This is important because sometimes the public does not know that they don't need lawyers to handle criminal matters once they have got to court. And they also don't know that our services, some don't know that our services are available constitutionally, we're mandated to do that, and our services are free of charge. Free of charge.
Alright.
Yes, so he or she prosecutes that matter to its logical conclusion. If there is a conviction, he or she is expected to address the court on what would be the appropriate sentence, to participate in the sentencing process, and in case there is an appeal, also to handle the appeal. Of course, we also handle very many interlocutory miscellaneous applications in the whole process. Applications for bail, applications for documents, and many kinds of applications. So, in a nutshell, that is what the state attorneys practically do.
Okay. And Maria, when can one complain on the slowness of a particular case? After 3 years or what?
A member of the public can complain at any time they feel they don't understand the length or progress of any process concerning the law and administration of justice in the country. And for us in JSC, basically now we advise government on the improvement of the administration of justice and also acting as the link. That's why you see I'm here with Jane. I'll be here with players from any other institution within the justice law and other sector. That is our coordinating and being the link between the public and these other institutions. So with JNC you can contact us at any one time. We have a team of qualified lawyers that can attend to you.
So if someone thinks the case is being slow, they simply walk in and do your offices at Farmer's House.
They can walk in and call us on our toll-free lines.
And they don't need lawyers?
No, they do not. And our services are free. Our services are free. They don't need lawyers, they don't need cash.
Let's assume one came and complained that a case is slow. What are the characteristic scenarios that you come across? The last complaint you handled, for instance.
The last complaint I handled, for example, today, I received via email. And it was about a delay in the hearing of a case, and also several. I received several actually. There was another one concerning bribery. Of course, I can't give you the details, but I thought
someone got a small bribe, not commensurate with his status or what?
Not commensurate, okay, bribe, that is an allegation of corruption. So I responded to them immediately, but forwarded to the appropriate person. Well, get this person's contact and we shall be able to get back to him before the end of this week.
Someone was trying to bribe a public officer.
The public officer is trying to,
ask for a bribe. And someone says they're asking for a bribe. What do you do in such situations? You give them
investigate the matter. definitely, to its end.
Okay.
Yes.
And you're not at liberty to tell us exactly how you do that. Margaret, talk to us about how the public can gauge the effectiveness of your officers. You are a big person within the East, regional principals. How can one, look at the effectiveness of their work, your officers?
The public can gauge the effectiveness of the DPP through having speedy prosecutions, scenarios where cases have been taken to court, and the availability of the prosecutors in court to handle their cases. The effectiveness can also be gauged from speedy sanctioning of files which are taken to the prosecutors from police, so that files do not delay in the prosecutor's office. And in the directorate we are supposed to handle a case for sanctioning. The minimum period we are supposed to keep a case for sanctioning should not exceed 2 days.
2 working days.
2 working days.
2 days.
Working days.
So if the evidence has been gathered by the police, the file is supposed to be taken to the office of the RSA, the Region State Prosecutor, or the Region State Attorney, to peruse and decide whether there is a case for court. And the State Attorney is supposed to, based on the evidence on the file, sanction the file for court, or direct police to do further investigations, because we make sure that before the case goes for court or is sanctioned for court, we must ensure that there is at least evidence to warrant its prosecution in court, because we want to secure convictions.
Right.
We do not want to take cases to court just to punish people when we cannot prove those cases.
Right.
So the availability of prosecutors at the stations, and also the minimum time, we're giving minimum times to handle certain cases, like for sanction, I've told you the minimum is 2 working days.
Right.
And also for the perusers, depending on the gravity of the case, capital cases, it's supposed to be 2 weeks between 2 weeks to 1 month, and because sometimes we get very complicated cases and we get a lot of workload because we get so many files from the police. So if it's for perusal, usually the suspect is on police bond. That person has not yet been charged. So we'll give it 1 more time.
Right. Do you have enough people to handle all these files? Yes, Jay.
We don't. And that's the reality. We have had challenges with recruitment in the past, I think, 2 years or so, because of lack of constitution of the Public Service Commission, which recruits for the Directorate of Public Prosecutions. However, that commission is now in place, so we are looking forward to recruiting, and I think we advertised for about 60 state attorneys. The workload all over the country is quite heavy. We have about 290 prosecutors. These prosecutors constitute of both lawyers and the state prosecutors who are non-lawyers but trained to handle prosecution of cases, kind of lay prosecutors.
Right.
So about 240 of these are lawyers. However, with the growth of districts, we've been having a challenge with getting the appropriate numbers to see that our services are at every district. One of the targets that we have, not only as the DPP, but as the justice law and order sector, is to ensure that people have access to our services. So the idea is that we would have a state attorney in every district. That's the desirable. Currently, we do not have that. There are certain stations that are extremely busy. We're receiving about 40 files per day.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's like in the capital, for instance.
Where in the capital?
Yeah, in the city.
In the city, yes. But within the city we do have very many stations, some less busy than the rest. One of our busiest stations is Makindi. Makindi, the Chief Magistrate's the station of the Chief Magistrate's Court, because we have files coming from Okuo police station and Kajuga police station. So the number of files going through Makindi's is quite high.
Alright.
Yes.
Well, listeners, this is Spectrum on Radio, and tonight, what is the role of the Directorate of Public Prosecutions in the delivery of justice and upholding the rule of law in Uganda? Our guest, Ms. Jane Okuo Kajuga, Senior Principal State Attorney, also Public Relations Officer at the Directorate of Public Prosecutions. Ms. Margaret Nachibu, the Regional Principal State Attorney based in Ginger, and Ms. Maria Teresa Nabu, Information Officer from the Judicial Service Commission. We will be able to ask them questions later. Margaret, talk to us about some unique cases that have sanction delays in your day-to-day work. What are some of the unique cases that have important ingredients missing that cause you to delay to take them to court?
Some such cases, for example, embezzlement cases. Embezzlement cases, we need a lot of documents and a lot of evidence from auditors and also from accounts, financial statements. So those files usually take time before they go to court, because you make sure that before the case goes to court, it is ready for court, such that when the hearing starts, you're looking at securing a conviction in that case. Yeah. That is what you're supposed to look at. And then other difficult cases which are difficult to secure, either to investigate and maybe to take to court, include fields of terrorism. They're usually difficult cases. Yeah, it's a bit complicated, terrorism, and also we also have difficulties in deferment cases, because usually, especially simple deferment, where the girls are quite older, about 14 years. The simple deferment refers to a victim who's 14 years and above, and then aggravated deferment is for a victim who's below 14 years up to maybe even months old. Right. So for cases where the victims are quite older, they usually withdraw, they lose interest, and they usually compromised. Some of these cases are commercialized. Once it goes to police, then the suspects want to settle it out of court, and then the complainant wants to make an additional statement, and they won't come to court. So we get difficult in such cases, especially.
Right. So let's look at the procedures once again. You get files from police. You pose them, you never do your own investigation. If you need more data, you ask the policeman to do that. Yes. And after that, you take that to court. And you press the judges to give us a deterrent sentence most times. We sometimes get frustrated when they give light sentences.
Well, it depends on the gravity of the case. Yeah, we look at the aggravating factors of the case, and then the judge also considers the mitigating factors. The accused person talks about the mitigating factors which he can come up with, but we always bring out the aggravating factors. For example, in a deferment case, we look out for the victim and maybe the age of 2 months old. That's a bit grave. Then we also look at the circumstances under which this was done. If it's a robbery, how was it conducted? So, the impunity in which these cases or the offences are being done by the accused persons, we always press for the maximum as the prosecution. Right. And then we leave the discretion to court, because the court will also consider the mitigating factors.
And if you're unhappy, you can appeal.
Yes.
Do you appeal a lot, or is it only for cases that involve the state?
We do appeal a case where we feel that we had laid out enough evidence for the court, and then the trial judge did not take it into consideration. We can, in capital cases, if we have secured, if the accused person has been acquitted, it is the policy of the Directorate to always automatically file a notice of appeal, and then we request for the proceedings, and then we prepare a memorandum of appeal, because when you're appealing, you have to lay grounds for the appeal. You just don't appeal for the sake. Then you have to lay out the grounds and state that maybe the trial judge erred by not considering this. So we look at the circumstances of the case, what happened in court, the evidence that was laid out which was not considered by the judge.
Alright, talk to us now about gaps that you see in the justice system. You are the JSC. You know the JLO sector, put there a lot of different institutions. What are the gaps that you see that need to be filled?
There are so many gaps. Some, of course, beyond our control. For example, like a number of staff. We would like to reach every single Ugandan. But how many people do we have to carry out this work? For example, as you saw, our Directorate of Education and Public Affairs within the Judicial Service Commission, we are mandated to carry out civic education throughout the country. Over 112 districts, but we are like 3 people.
You don't have enough double cabins.
So that's quite a challenge, and like reaching communities, sometimes it's very difficult. Also addressing people like within their different segments, within the different groups, packaging messages to address like different issues faced. Because for example in Kampala, whatever problem people are facing will be different from something probably faced in Kajuga. Like the pressing issues sometimes are different. So addressing that within the different institutions is sometimes a challenge.
And how is it the government's fault, or you don't talk about this?
We don't talk about these matters. That's why we are here. As this is one of the interventions that we are having, and that's why you see that JSC did not come here by itself, but we are coming with players from all the different institutions within the justice law and other sector to ensure that some of these issues are addressed. And we really like members of the public to people should get out from this scenario where they're like, government, yes, government, you know, even if you complain about this issue, no one will address it. We've had scenarios where people, actually most of the times, people complain to us and we address these issues. We go to our prisons, we go with the assistant DPP, we go with the assistant commissioner prisons, and we've really helped people out there. We educate our inmates on their rights. We go to communities and teach people, you know, because we are this ignorance of their needs, the difference. But no one is teaching our people. So this is one of the interventions that we are having.
Alright, let's take... Okay. Let's look at some of the other gaps from your side, Jane.
Thank you.
What other capacity levels would you like to...
Thank you so much, Edmond. I think one of the greatest challenges we face is with our interaction with the public. As institutions that have been set up to provide services to the public, it is very vital that the public understands, first of all, what does the institution do? How can I be assisted? What is the mandate of JSC vis-a-vis the mandate of DPP, vis-a-vis that of the judiciary or police, and also knowledge of our standards. Because sometimes not knowing what the standards are, for example, that if a file comes to DPP's office, that it should be worked on within 48 hours if it's for sanctioning. If the public could be enabled to know what the service standards are, or institutions, yes, then it would help with service delivery. That involvement of the public, we feel it critically as prosecutors, because the cases we prosecute come from the public. They are the witnesses, they are the victims, and without them we cannot go through the process and ensure that justice is delivered. And so we need their involvement not only in reporting cases to police, but also following them and coming to court when they are called to give evidence as witnesses.
Let's take a break. We'll pick it from there. This is Spectrum. We'll be back to stay tuned.
Hey, sorry, you seem confused. What's the problem? I have one attender to supply equipment. They need a guarantee of 50 million shillings. I thought you bank with Finance Trust Bank. Yes, I do. Then why worry? What you need is just a bank guarantee. Actually, the guy mentioned that we are now a full-fledged bank and can only cater for all that, from overdrafts in asset financing. What is asset financing? Like when you want to buy a boda, taxi or tractor for your farm. What you want to buy becomes the security, then they give you the money and you pay later. And Finance Trust Bank, my birthday. Sure. Let me go. I know they will sort this out for me. At Finance Trust Bank, you will find all of your banking needs under one roof. A special account for women, savings accounts, current accounts, and loans. We serve you with trust and convenience. Visit us at any of our branches countrywide. Finance Trust Bank. Putting women first. When you next
a trip from Entebbe to Dubai, choose Fly Dubai. Our fares in economy start from just $399 return, and they include all taxes and a checked baggage allowance. Visit flydubai.com, contact your local travel agent, or call Fly Dubai on 0414-359-392 and book your trip today. Terms and conditions apply.
Spectrum on Radio 1 FM 90.
Welcome back on Spectrum tonight. What is the role of the Directorate of Public Prosecutions in the delivery of justice and upholding the rule of law in this country? Our guests, Ms. Jane Okuo Kajuga, Senior Principal State Attorney, also Public Relations Officer at the Directorate of Public Prosecutions, Ms. Margaret Nachigu, the Regional Principal State Attorney in Jinja, and Maria Teresa Nagu, the Information Officer at the Judicial Service Commission. We will call in shortly. Can you give us a profile of the crimes that the specific crimes that you investigate, Margaret? What do you handle? And tell us what you don't handle.
The Directorate of Public Prosecutions prosecutes cases which have come from the police, and these are offences which have been reported by members of the public, and which the state feels that should be taken into to court in public interest. For example, thefts, defilements, cases which
theft is criminal.
Yes, theft is criminal.
And if a man is hungry and he stole cassava, that's criminal.
Yeah, because it's wrong to steal. So you're stealing something which is not yours with an intention.
Even though the man was very hungry,
you should both. You should request but not to steal. Then other cases are like aggravated robberies, murders. You know, offences which are done with impunity, even embezzlement, which affect the public, and which should be taken on by the state in public interest. This is different from civil matters, which is person to person, maybe Edmond against Jane, because those are your personal issues you're fighting for. You want to court to determine the ownership of the land. Yeah. But where it is a case where you have to, the penal code provides that you have to prove certain elements. The offences we handle are stipulated in the Penal Code Act, and thefts are part of them, defilements, traffic cases as well.
Traffic cases are also criminal.
Yes, criminal. Yeah. Cases, murders, incest, maybe other offenses.
How about wife battery? Is that domestic violence? Is that criminal?
Yes, that's assault. You're not supposed to take the law into your hands. You're supposed to report.
The former engineer slapped his very senior, wife, senior officer in the government. That man should have been jailed for slapping his wife. In practice, does it happen? A lot. People report.
Domestic violence cases are common, and it depends at the level at which it has reached. Some of them are handled by the family unit in the police, and they will not necessarily be taken to court because we need to arbitrate family issues. But when it is going to an extent of someone, some of them are killed. You've heard them in the papers and in the news. Some people have been battered to death. Then the state comes in and we have to investigate and arrest, and then remind that person, we prosecute him, because we are supposed to inform the public that this is not right. You're not supposed to take the law into your hands.
Right. So ordinarily, for family matters, you say to them, you tell the man, this is bad, don't do it. Go home in peace, but don't do it again.
Not all cases, but we have there's a family unit at police which would sometimes arbitrate family issues, so that in the event that they are failed to reconcile the parties and these offences are continuous, then the cases will be prosecuted.
So repeat offenders are taken very seriously.
Yes.
You remind me the other time I told you don't slap this woman again even though you love her so much.
Yes,
and then he comes back and he's still doing it. Maybe this time he
because that amounts to assault.
So I did slap, like you told me, I instead kicked.
Yes.
Talk to us about the complaint system, Jane. How do you handle the complaints that come to your office?
Thank you so much. Now, we do take complaints from the public. These complaints vary. It could be about the delay, for example, in the handling of the matter in any of our field stations. It could be a complaint regarding the conduct of any of our staff in the execution of their duties.
Right.
It could also be one against a decision that has been taken by any of our field officers, because you might find, for example, that the state attorney has decided to prefer a charge of simple deferment, but the parties are not satisfied. They think either the investigations were not properly done, or they think that the state attorney did not peruse the file fairly or without bias, so they would like to lodge a complaint with us. We have a complaints mechanism starts at the field stations. If you are in Hoima and the matter that you want to raise a complaint about is arising from Hoima, then you see the office of the resident state attorney first in Hoima to get a solution. If, however, at the field station you have not got any assistance, or the complaint that you want to make actually affects the head of the station in Hoima, then we encourage you to lodge those complaints with us at the headquarters. We do take the complaints seriously. The files now they go to the regional officers, because we have regional officers for all the high court circuits. Margaret is one of them, and they handle the complaints in order to, we've been having delays in the complaint handling process, and the regional officers were set up this year. One of the main purposes was to ease the complaint handling from the region, so that even when a file has come to headquarters, it is expeditiously handled in the complaint and sent back.
And Maria, what are some of the common complaints that come to the Judicial Service Commission?
There are several complaints pertaining to corruption, abuse of office, neglect of duty. For example, if a judicial officer, government official is supposed to work from Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. But some judicial officers,
what do
we don't get to work.
They work weekends.
Maybe they work from Monday to Wednesday, and some not all of them. Absenteeism, not coming, drunkenness. We have several of our officers being complained against because of drunkenness, laziness, tribalism, favoritism, and general misbehavior.
How do you laziness?
For example, like if certain matter, you have an issue in court, but every time they tell you, come back next time, come back for a period, because we have to consider our people. Some people come from far to access our courts, but the case takes over 6 months without being heard. That's a sign of laziness.
And drunkenness, people drink after work. Why should that worry you at all?
That shouldn't worry you at all if it doesn't affect your work. But if a judicial officer, at that level, comes to court drunk, how you don't administer justice when you're drunk?
It's a bit difficult.
Yeah.
With blurry eyes, it's fun. I don't know, the judgment's supposed to be ready. I mean, you see it called the past judgments. Someone might want their type judgment. How long does it normally take?
It depends on the matter at hand, but a judgment should be made as soon as a case is completed, the hearing of the case is completed. Yeah.
It should be typed within 2 days. Or they can type it as you wait.
No.
Do you have the capacity to do it? Not computers?
I think there's capacity to do that. Though it shouldn't be done so fast. It's done really that has been conclusively heard, and
so within a week, 2 weeks, you should be able to get that?
Yes.
That's reasonable.
Yes, that is reasonable.
Margaret, normally where would the members of the public complainants, when would they expect to be called upon? Also, do you have cases where you don't need to call upon complainants?
Complainants usually are required to put their complaints in writing. So we don't handle verbal complaints, because these are records we want to refer to when we are handling in case we are doing that case.
Let's talk about the normal, not the appeal level, but the normal complaint. Someone goes to police, they lodge a complaint about a criminal matter, they create a file, it's brought to you. Can you prosecute without calling the complainant, or do you always call them?
Yes, we always call them because they are the principal witnesses. As much as the case is prosecuted by the government of Uganda, these people are the principal witnesses because they're the ones who have lodged the complaints. So we call them as our witnesses to give evidence on what happened, so that to establish a criminal case before. And
if they don't have to give evidence, the person could admit, for instance, do you still need them? Or can you go on without them?
We always have them ready, but if the accused person decides to accept the offense, then we shall inform the court the facts of the case, and then the court will ask the accused person to ask whether he pleads to them correctly or he does not agree. And in case he has pleaded guilty, most of the time he will agree to the facts which are on the police file, and then they will sentence him. But if he's not pleading guilty, then we have to prove this case by calling witnesses.
Right. Yeah. And who normally calls that person, the complainant? Is it police, is it you, is it the court?
Well, it is the prosecutor sends out witness summons to the police to summon the witnesses.
So police
the police are the investigating officers. So they get in touch with these people to make statements. They take their contacts. It's a police file. So they're the ones to know the locations and to get in touch with these people, and then they bring them to court.
And you mentioned police files. I've been told in the past that you don't necessarily use the police file. You create your own files out of the police file. Is that accurate?
That's not sure. We do not.
You take the file and you take it to court, but court is not necessarily bound by the police file. They can only use it as a backup.
Well, it is a police file, but the court also has a court file. Our duty is to read evidence by summoning witnesses, and then the court will record evidence which is given on oath.
They record what happens in court.
Yes,
not necessarily
the police file.
Yeah, so there's a difference between the police file and the court. Jane, talk to us about politicians abusing their offices, the DPP's office. They say a man raped a woman and they never even got close.
We do not distinguish between our complainants and the suspects in all cases. We look at the evidence that has been adduced in respect of any matter. If the accused person or the complainant happens to be a member of parliament or happens to be a senior politician, that
or an
opposition politician, that is not the consideration on which we take action.
You don't look at the color of the man's tie?
Not at all.
Are you sure? So there are no politically trumped up charges that you ever handle. How do you gauge them and look at it? Can you tell that this one is politically driven? Are you able to do that? Do you have experts in those matters?
Every state attorney is an expert because we are guided by the ingredients of an offense. If it is said that this politician took part in an unlawful assembly, you know what the law says about an unlawful assembly. When you read the evidence that has been gathered by the police, you're looking to see whether that evidence satisfies the ingredients for unlawful assembly. If it does, then you will prosecute that person regardless of who they are.
Right.
Yes.
Maya, before we hear from the listeners, what kind of credit can you give us a justice system, looking at it overall, despite the constraints? How have they performed?
I believe we've performed very well.
Really?
Yes, very well.
Double their salary and you get
If I could, I would double their salary. For example, as of now, the feedback we are getting from the public, for example, the judicial officers, so many of them are doing a very good job. You know, dispensing of cases, listening to people's files, and so many other issues. So we are doing well. I believe we are doing well. Yeah.
And Margaret, what's your greatest achievement from your own, at your own desk, on your own region? If you look at your own operations there, what do you think? You know, which case, which scenario did you handle, and you felt very satisfied with yourself and your immediate team and the entire chain? What was the case study there?
Well, there was a case of a Uganda versus Vincent Kamau. This was a former NRA who had returned but then engaged in criminal activities, and it was a murder case. And this case had challenges because some of the evidence had been removed from the police file, and the file had kept on coming several times to court. But it would always be adjourned to the next criminal session because the DPP felt the evidence was not enough. So I looked at that file and I believed that these people, the LRA returning and being connected with the deceased girlfriend, because they were fighting the worker. The girlfriend decided to kill the man just because of a vehicle. So it was really a gruesome murder, and I imagined just a vehicle and someone else lose their life, and this is a person who's supposed to be close to you, not to be a criminal. So I prosecuted that case. It had challenges, but we secured the conviction after a long time, and I felt maybe it was an achievement for me because some evidence had been removed. The phone printouts, it was a file which did not have direct evidence. It had circumstantial evidence, and circumstantial.
You managed to prosecute with circumstantial evidence?
Yes, without direct evidence, because these people tried to conceal. But what helped me a lot was the fact that the accused person led the police to recover the body of the deceased in some forest in Nakasongola. So the fact that he knew where the body was and exactly where after a long time, they kept on denying, even in their charge and question statements, they had accepted and then they retracted, So I started building the case from the fact that he led police to recover the body of the deceased, and his relation with this girlfriend, because this girl used to be seen all the time with this military man who was working with CMI, and then somehow I managed to secure a conviction based on circumstantial evidence.
Because you gave a lot of professional satisfaction.
Yes, I have so many of such cases which are challenging.
Yes, we do, but I think it's a success for the Directorate. Since 95 when we were set up with a very small conviction rate that it's embarrassing to talk about. Yeah. We now are at about 55% conviction rate, which means that is good work.
That's good. Yeah. Let's hear from the listeners. This is Spectrum on Radio 1. The number 0312, slightly different from the usual. 0312-260390, 0312-260490, 0312-262390. I read them again, 0312-262390, 0312-260490, and 0312-260390. So that success rate, what is it attributed to? Good covers or what?
We have tried to improve our coordination with the police, and our input on the investigation of files and cases. That has led to the police being more guided as far as investigations are concerned.
Hello? Yes, your name. Can you switch off your radio? Your name?
I'm Godfrey.
Yes, Godfrey.
Yes, I would like to ask from one project in the studio about the recent statistics that the nation is the most corrupt institution in the country. Thank you.
Spectrum, hello? Hello? Yes, let's hear from you. What do you think about that? That's your view.
Thank you very much, listeners. Issue we've had,
let's take another concern there from a caller. Hello?
Good evening.
Good evening, your name?
I'm George.
Yes, George.
I would want to thank you for the message that we are getting. It is very educative for justice purposes in this country. Now we have a scenario in Teso where a doctor was killed and the victims were captured. The killers, the murderers of the doctor, were taken to Soroti time, that was April up to now. Two survivors are there, but these people have never been called to give evidence. Now, why do we delay justice? I know very well that when you delay justice to those who have been whatever, people really get a lot of bitterness after losing their people. Why is this happening in such areas? Thank you very much.
All right, justice delayed. Yes, Maria.
In response to Geoffrey, he called saying judiciary is the most corrupt institution. That's why one of the reasons we are here. We informed you that JSC is in that's one of our mandates. To
come to the point.
To just, if at any one time you go to court and you feel like good, complain to us. Call our toll-free line 0800-100-222 or 0800-100-221. Lodge your complaint with us with particular details and we shall follow it up. But making a head statement, we shall call up.
Let's take off callers. What's your name? Dickens, yes.
I thank God for coming to give information regarding what they are doing. I think these people would be doing better if literally you have some advisory directorate at the headquarters. So many things are done at the regional level, so many things are done at the district level. Even when you try to report here at the DPP's office, they will tell you come after mass. A month leads to another month. Another month leads to a third month. Nothing until the person gets disinterested. If you could establish someone in the middle of the one of the terrorists, you know what thing is going to create without the person is doing.
Alright, very interesting here. What's your comment, Jim? Let's take a final caller then. Hello? Yes, your name?
Yes, this is Samson.
Come again?
Samson.
Yes, Samson.
And that is responsible for fixing cases in this day because the suspects of the Uganda case of 2011, up to now their case is going to get from Kenya. They don't get cross case and they are responsible for fixing cases for years.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. The question from Teso was about the delay that a matter was reported of murder in April 2014 and up to now the witnesses haven't been called. That complexity is arising from the fact that capital cases have a kind of process they go through before they are heard. That the DPP's office has up to 6 months to ensure that the person is committed to the High Court for trial. So the case is not heard in the lower courts. After that person has been committed, we then wait for the High Court to give us a cause list and tell us when this particular case will be coming up. Actually, after committal, the matter is taken out of our hands. We have to wait for the court. When it is availed funds, then it can organize a session, then we try. However, I don't mind providing a telephone number on which you can call us for further information.
Which one is that?
Please 0794 332007. Call on that number and we shall get you a better particular response.
You can reach again 0794
332007.
Alright.
And then about the supervisory function of DPP. I do appreciate the caller's challenge with the delay in the handling of complaints. That is one of the reasons why the DPP set up regional offices, because of the length of time it would take to handle the complaint process, the complaint that has been filed with us, and the fact that these complaints are coming to headquarters from as far as Bundi, Bujo, and then people have to come all the way to headquarters to pursue. We didn't have regional offices before, and each independent resident state administration was answering to headquarters, and that was clogging the system. That is why now we have the regional officers, and I would like to believe, we have not yet analyzed what the impact is, but I'd like to believe that it has really shortened the period of time within which complaints are processed.
How long have you had then, the regional officers?
We have had the regional officers since February. March.
Since March this year.
Since March. Yes. Since March of this year.
And something else about fixing cases. You think it's...
Well, he talked about a particular case and was saying there's a delay in the fixing of cases, and I remember that is a capital offense. Falls under the same...
Right, so that
scenario. After the commutal, then we wait for the High Court to give us a date when the case will be had.
Okay, and you don't have many complaints of these delayed cases. You don't think it's a big problem for you?
Yes, the complaints...
Some people say some cases are swiftly handled, others take a long time.
That is true, but it also depends on the particulars of each case. And
each case is unique.
Yes, each case is unique.
Alright, we have to go. Thank you very much, leader guest night. A lot of information we gathered this evening. Ms. Jane Okuo Kajuga, Senior Principal State Attorney, also Public Relations Officer of the Directorate of Public Prosecutions. Thank you for coming tonight. Ms. Margaret Nashigulo, Regional Principal State Attorney in Ginger. Thank you for coming. And Maria Teresa Nabudu, Information Officer of the Judicial Service Commission. Thank you for tuning in. I've been your host, Edmond. Spectrum will be back tomorrow up next in the news in English.
Sorry, my dear. May I put my shopping bag here? Oh, no problem. Thank you. I love the new taxi park. It's much cleaner. Agreed. And speaking of clean, the session looks interesting. I've never seen it before. Look, it's the new laundry powder from Okuo. I had to try it. Oh, is that Mama? I've heard about it. Apparently, it makes your washing smell sensational. They said this Mama washes cleaner than clean. Such a pretty sachet. Yes, and I'm told that Mama cleans and softens your washing when you need two-in-one action. My sister says the color's still bright too.
Save money, save time, and get the fresh fabric softener all-in-one with new Mama laundry powder.
I think life just got a little easier.
Mama knows best. Discover new Mama 2-in-1 laundry powder from Okuo and wash cleaner than clean. Wash after wash.
Legitimate whiskey is different. I am proud that we can now enjoy quality and taste. And style too. I have not felt so original with the liveliness I get each morning after I enjoy legitimate whiskey. Everything seems to be going my way. This is a worthy discovery. Legitimate whiskey is blended from carefully selected Scotch malt, giving it a golden amber appearance with a silky smooth and soothing taste for lasting satisfaction. Legitimate whiskey, a masterfully crafted blend, expertly blended, lighter and styled whiskey. Please enjoy responsibly. Spectrum on Radio 1 FM 90. Brought to you by Finance Trust Bank. Putting women first. Allowing you to wish The views expressed on this show are not necessarily those of this radio station or its management. Open happiness. Está bueno mubanda bile. Kutu wako omukutoga empuliziganya. Orange. Abawulire okaboozi kinana musanvu katonyeze mwenda fama mu makkati ga Kampala ekibuga ky'eggwanga. Yafuuka wako Transit Tax moving forward.
Ziweze sawa bili za kaunge kona kuwariro turamukuza nyumnanga kuliza mawuri mbufunze kubiri akabozo gasoma nze duya bagenda gayi Spika wa Parliament Rebecca alitwala Kadaga asaba baka Parliament wa Ifokye kutumwa minisitiri kuranga mu Parliament y'Uganda kikozese okuteesanga tali kulinda lukiiko lukulu mu gavumenti